Hey everyone, it's Ben, and today we're going to take a look at an awesome bushcraft knife from Allegheny Knifeworks. I've got the M38. Let's take a look. You're watching Living Survival. So I've shown a few knives from Allegheny Knifeworks in the past, and although those were very utilitarian, this one is definitely more for the bushcrafter. It's a bushcraft style knife, A2 with a Scandi grind, and it's a very comfortable knife. It's got rounded handle scales on it, 1/8 of an inch thick, full tang of course. You can get the handles in different colors. There's a close-up of the handles there. You can get it in black, OD, coyote, gray, and you can actually get it in pink for all you ladies out there if pink's your thing. It's got a coated blade, but the grind is not coated. Very, very nice and very functional knife. I like the fact that it's not overly thick, and it rides really, really nicely in my hand. You've got a front little choil there. There is sort of a little choil on the blade. I do wish the blade came back. I always like my blade to come back to the top of my handle, so I like it to line up. And you know, so this one's maybe about 1/4 of an inch off there. I'd like to see just a little, you know, just a little scallop in there or a little divot in there, and have that blade come back a little further, because it's not really a usable choil. You'd cut yourself pretty good if you tried to use that as a choil, probably just for design, that it's like that. But I think it'd be nicer if it came back all the way. But pretty much that's my only complaint. You can also get liners, black or white liners. So a very nice looking knife, and a very functional knife as well. Another thing that you can get with this knife is your choice of sheath. You can either get a leather sheath with a ferro rod holder. You can get this very low profile Kydex sheath. I actually prefer the Kydex. It's very, very low profile, pancake style, not taco style, so it rides right next to my waistline there. And it has the belt pass through, or the pass through for your belt there, so you can run your webbing belt right through there. It's not going anywhere. It stays very, very firm in place, and you can carry it and nobody will even know that you have a belt on your side. It rides high enough. But if you prefer the dangler style or leather style, more traditional bushcraft, you can also get a leather sheath as well. So I wanted to give you a close-up of the Kydex sheath that you can get. It's a two-tone, very cool pancake style with those slits there that you can run your belt through. I really like that. It keeps it so super low profile on my body. It's got good retention. It snaps in there. If you were to shake this really hard, it'd probably pop out, but you know, not going to come out on you when it's on your belt, especially as close to the body as it rides. But nice Kydex system here, and fits this knife very, very well. That's why I prefer using the Kydex over the leather for this particular knife. So this is what the leather sheath looks like. Look familiar? Justin actually, I believe, apprenticed with LT, so the sheaths come from the same place, apprenticed with LT Wright. So you can see a little bit of his apprentice style in his knives, but certainly gives it his own flavor. And every knife that I've received from him has been top notch, including this one. But it's also available leather sheath with a dangler with a ferro rod loop in it. So one test that I do with all my bushcraft style knives is baton it through several pieces of wood. It works really, really well. Couple things that batoning does for me is, one, it shows me how comfortable the handle is, not necessarily because I'm going to baton all the time, but you can tell, you know, how comfortable it is overall holding it while you baton. And then also it's going to give you a good idea of how well the retention is for the edge. So although Scandi isn't going to be as good as a saber grind for splitting open wood, it certainly bites in there, and this knife came extremely sharp. You can see it just bites right in to this wood and has no problem punching right down through it. No shock at all. And then again, you know, I am coming right back to my edge there once it gets down lower in the piece of wood. So again, I'd love to have another 1/4 inch of wood or so, or a 1/4 inch of blade on the on that knife, but definitely is functional. This piece has some knots in it. Not going to want to split because of that knot down there, so it's going to be a really good test of how well that edge holds up. can see we drove right through that knot there, so our edge is still insanely sharp. I mean, this knife is just so super sharp right out of the box and very durable. So another great test of a knife is to see how well it feathers, especially with a bushcraft style knife. Now I have no doubts, having a Scandi grind and as sharp as this A2 steel is, I have no doubts that it'll take minimal effort to just get paper thin feathers here, get past some of the knotty parts on the inside of this piece of wood. And it should be able to just curl right down just like that. Little knot right there, another one right there. Pretty sure this is oak, so I mean this is some hard wood too, and to get paper thin curls like that out of hardwood just shows how sharp that knife is. So we can do it again with a softer piece of wood here. Let's get some of this outer bark off of there. We can just make some nice feathers with that Scandi grind. Now when doing finer work, I always prefer the knife to have a little bit thicker handle up front, and it's kind of the same case with this one, although certainly not really giving me any major hot spots. As sharp as it is, it really is just doing all the work, so your hand doesn't have to even hold on that tight. I mean, I'm holding rather loosely onto this knife and just able to run right down this wood here. Definitely feathers really well. So another thing I commonly do with a bushcraft knife is make stakes. So a stake involves carving, of course. You want to carve yourself a point on the one end. You don't have to take the bark off, but I always like to, just to see kind of how smooth it goes through the wood. And if you want to save your stakes, then it's a good idea to take the bark off. But once you get the bark to where you want it, you can start just carving your tip in the one side. Always a good indication of how sharp a knife is. And this is where that Scandi grind is really going to help you, more so than in the batoning. That Scandi grind will really help you slice, as opposed to a saber grind that's going to help you split. So we can work down our point there, and I mean it's just effortless with this knife. You can see that's just takes it right off. And generally what I'll do the other side is I'll just sort of mushroom down the head here, and the reason for that is so that when you pound on it, it doesn't end up splitting. So once you've used a bunch of different knives and kind of done the same tasks over and over, I know it kind of gets redundant in these videos. You know, you see batoning and you see carving and you see notching, but for one, that's what you're going to do with a bushcraft style knife, and for two, once you've tested a lot of different knives, as I have, it really gives you a good baseline for how comfortable the handle is, how well the edge is going to hold that edge. So we can go ahead and put a notch in here. Usually I just kind of carve down into the to the stake. You could put this on a stump and just baton it a little bit to make a little notch in there that you can carve back to. Essentially what you're doing is you're just trying to put a little notch in the stake here for your string. But once you get it started, you can kind of just carve up to your stopping point there, and then just sort of cut down, and that will create a place for your string. So now you could go ahead and pound this in the ground and use it as a tent stake. I make these all the time. And the million-dollar question that everybody has with a bushcraft knife is, will it strike a ferro rod? And it has no problem doing that, even with the coating on there, and you know, a decently sharp spine does just fine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video taking a look at the M38. It's been a workhorse for me since I've had it. I like the handles. A little bit thicker in the front would be nice, but you'd probably throw off the rest of the contour of the handle. So just maybe a little bit thicker handle scales overall would be what I prefer. I'd like the blade to come all the way back there and just have a little nick there instead of this round scallop, which is unusable, or that choil there, which is really unusable. I do like the choil in the handle itself though, and being an 1/8 of an inch thick with that A2 steel and that extremely sharp Scandi grind really works. I haven't sharpened this knife at all since I've got it. It's still hair popping sharp, even with all the batoning and carving and things that I've done with this knife. I really like the Kydex Sheath. I like that it's really low profile, pancake style like I like, and it goes onto your belt really nicely and securely. You're not going to lose it. Rides up a little bit higher than some people would like probably, but it keeps it out of the way, keeps it from being noticed if you are going to carry it. Maybe on an everyday basis. If you like it to be a little bit lower, you can of course go with the leather dangler option. So I'm going to put some links below to Allegheny Knifeworks where you can check this knife out, as well as all his other knives as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Please give it a big thumbs up for me. Make sure you leave me some comments below and share this video to your friends and family on your social media. And as always, click that red subscribe button. Subscribe to my channel for more videos.